I've had a slightly troubled relationship with this Tarkovsky project. Hard not to intensely admire the cinematography. I've never been as engrossed in it as I might have liked to be. It is an exemplary exercise in film composition itself, one of the finest talent reels of all time. It has never matched my admiration for Andrei Rublev's Solaris, Stalker, or Nostalgia, but not because I doubt its capacity to. He was the Kubrick of the East in a respect, in terms of contemporary assessment of his filmography, a shorter oeuvre, each a highly exalted classic. Michael Curtiz or John Ford, or even Satyajit Ray or Alexander Sokurov, maybe even the Langster, might be more immediately adored by younger film enthusiasts had they only composed their 9 finest films. There is something to be said for the immense distinctiveness and energy poured into each of both Tarkovsky and Kubrick's films, as well as other infrequent, less prolific auteurs such as Orson Welles, Sergio Leone, David Lean, or David Lynch. To a casual film audience, bewildered and prospectively indifferent to catching a broadcast of this film, ideally in high definition, on their hopefully sufficient television screen, do note that there was not much like this particular film by the year 1975, and it was a bold and original film experiment for its time, and efforts to imitate it by more independent or student filmmakers, via the video art continuum or via many a wannabe Goddard, do not remotely compare. Otherwise, film discourse would have noticed them. The Mirror remains an entirely singular event in filmmaking history. I am jealous of it compositionally, but it also warns me away from inserting a series of poetic vignettes of personal significance into a feature runtime, for fear that I wouldn't be able to make it as interesting as Tarkovsky, which, as it is, doesn't overwhelmingly move me as a literary endeavour. Maybe, if I were collaborating with Georgy Roberg in the mid-1970s as well, with original poetry on a par with Arseny Tarkovsky, Andrei's similarly talented father, and a script on a par with that Andrei and Alexander Misharin penned, which still would have read better than most of any of our efforts, but otherwise I suspect I ought not bother. Then again, I'm not sure anyone else should either. And whether you revere this film, turn your nose up at it, or desire to admire it more, I imagine you might all agree with that. 1001 movies you must see before you die had this to say: the great American avant-garde filmmaker Stan Brakhage once hailed Andrei Tarkovsky for cinematic achievement on 3 levels, telling the epic tales of the tribes of the world, keeping his work personal and reaching his truth via that route, and, quote, doing the dream work to illuminate the borders of the unconscious, end quote. The Mirror is a striking and haunting example of this threefold majesty. It is a beguiling and remarkable film, hard to encapsulate because it is so full of the pregnant mysteriousness of places, people, and gestures. This fugitive self-portrait by Tarkovsky is an intergenerational affair in which the terse melancholy of his mother's situation, abandoned in the 1940s by her husband and left to raise a son, is mirrored by his own adult relationships. Margarita Terakova plays both the mother in the past and the present-day wife. Men, largely absent from the story as from the image, appear as voices and are poignantly identified with the making of art and poetry. The poems we periodically hear are by Tarkovsky's father. Tarkovsky is a more radical and modernist figure than his Russian heir apparent, Alexander Sokurov. Just as an aside, I don't know if I think that's a particularly valid claim, but I'm just going to keep moving forward. Mirror is constructed as a collage in which recreated vignettes that deliberately blur past and present are freely mingled with archival footage from several countries and disquietingly disconnected quotations from classical music, Bach, Pergolesi, Purcell. The ambience is dreamlike, secretive, elliptical, yet there was also a beautiful simplicity in Tarkovsky, aligning him with Terrence Malick. Oh, there's another one of your very infrequent authors. I forgot about him. His early work was just splendid. The movement of natural elements, wind, fire, rain, the bottomless landscapes of the human face, and a sense of time passing, all conspire to give a sense of the world itself breathing. Tarkovsky, like Robert Bresson, is a master of the precisely chosen image and sound. The economy of his camera movements and the gradual revealing of the disparate parts of any scene create an aura and an effect that overflow the material reality of what we see and hear, opening a portal to another world. His is a cinema of texture, of aura, and the senses. Mirror is all at once an intimate confession, a summoning of history, and a cryptic poem.